shattered reflections. Marissa and Mara were identical twins, but they had no idea the other existed. Marissa grew up in a world of privilege, her every whim indulged. Her parents adored her, lavishing her with gifts and love, crafting her into a polished, if not slightly snobbish, young woman. She had it all: wealth, beauty, and the promise of a bright future with her equally affluent fiancé. Mara, on the other hand, was thrust into a world of struggle. Passed from one indifferent foster home to another, she learned to fend for herself. The family that eventually adopted her offered no warmth, only a roof and the bare minimum of care. She grew up resentful of the cards life had dealt her, constantly wondering why she never seemed to deserve more. One fateful day, Mara found herself in Chicago working a mundane delivery job. Tired and frustrated, she stopped outside a high-end store to catch her breath. That was when she saw her. The woman walking into the store looked exactly like her, but everything about her screamed luxury and refinement. Mara couldn't look away. Intrigued, she followed the woman, careful to keep her distance. She trailed her through the busy streets, eventually watching as the woman was driven away in a sleek car. Mara wasn't ready to give up. She hailed a cab, telling the driver to follow the car. The pursuit ended at a stately townhouse in an affluent neighborhood. From the shadows, Mara watched the woman greet her family. Parents who seemed loving, a younger brother who adored her. They laughed, shared dinner, and enjoyed a life Mara had never known. Rage began to stir inside Mara, an envy so deep it felt like it might consume her. How could this woman, her mirror image, live such a life while she had been left to rot in misery? Mara stayed outside that house for hours, her mind churning with thoughts of what could have been. Over the next few days, Mara began to observe Marissa more closely, learning her routines, her habits. She discovered that Marissa was preparing to leave for a secluded trip with her fiancé. Mara's plan formed quickly, driven by anger and desperation. She would take everything from Marissa, just as life had taken everything from her. When Marissa left for her trip, Mara put her plan into action. She disguised herself, mimicking Marissa's appearance just enough to gain access to the townhouse. Claiming to be Marissa returning unexpectedly, she convinced the housekeeper to let her in. Once inside, the charade ended. Over the next 2 days, Mara systematically destroyed Marissa's family. Each death was calculated and precise, staged to appear as though carried out by a professional hitman. She left behind subtle clues pointing back to Marissa, ensuring her sister would bear the blame. When her work was done, Mara disappeared, leaving no trace of her presence. Marissa returned from her trip to a nightmare. Her home was a crime scene, her family gone. The police questioned her relentlessly, their suspicions growing as they uncovered damning evidence. Transactions in her name suggested she had hired someone to carry out the murders. Marissa was horrified, confused, and powerless to explain how any of it was possible. The trial was swift. Marissa's entitled demeanor, captured in countless interviews and social media posts, painted her as a spoiled, heartless woman, capable of anything to get her way. The jury didn't believe her pleas of innocence. She was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. Mara, meanwhile, had slipped away to another country. Using fake documents and the spoils from her sister's home, she built a new life. No one knew of her existence, and with Marissa locked away, her secret was safe. As the years passed, Marissa languished in prison, haunted by the betrayal of someone she didn't even know existed. Every time she looked in a mirror, she saw her sister's face staring back at her, a cruel reminder of the life stolen from her. Far away, Mara thrived in a world she had always dreamed of. She walked through a vibrant marketplace, her smile radiant, her heart unburdened. Raising a glass of champagne to her lips, she whispered to herself, "Here's to second chances." And somewhere deep inside her, a small, dark part of her wondered if Marissa could still feel her reflection lingering in the shadows. Like and subscribe for part 2.